Hit that sub button, guys, for the latest in boxing. You know, guys, one thing I've noticed when it comes to boxing fans is a lot of boxing fans aren't really boxing fans. They're boxer fans. They're not necessarily fans of the sport as a whole. Like, they don't watch, the division. They don't watch, every division. They're not getting, looking forward to watching a fight every weekend like us hardcore boxing fans are. Instead, they're just looking forward to seeing their favorite fighter fight. In other words, they only watch boxing twice a year because that's how many times their favorite fighter fights. When it comes to a lot of fighters who are particularly popular, when it comes to, one thing I notice is when it comes to like very popular fighters, a lot of them have these type of boxing fans. A lot of them have these type of, I'm only a fan of this fighter. I'm not a fan of boxing. I'm a fan of this fighter. And these boxing fans are called fanboys. They're called fanboys. And the thing about fanboys is a lot of them are delusional. When it comes to a hardcore boxing fan, a hardcore boxing fan who's a fan of the sport of boxing, who's a fan of multiple fighters, who looks forward to, tuning in every weekend, every Saturday, every Friday night, to watch a fight, and aren't just watching boxing twice a year and just watching one fighter, or actually looking at other fighters. When it comes to boxing fans like that, those guys are a lot more reasonable. Those guys are a lot more realistic. Those guys aren't blinded. They're able to look at a fighter, see their flaws. They're able to break down a fight. Unfortunately, like I said, boxing has a lot of these fans that aren't boxing fans like that. They're fanboys. They're just fans of boxers. Unfortunately, there's some channels out here that are even fanboys. I can't tell you how many channels I've seen out here that you could tell they're just a fanboy of a boxer, because all they do is talk about this fighter and they act like he's invincible. A lot of boxing fans, when it comes to Anthony Joshua, because he's so popular around the world, especially in the UK, he has a lot of delusional boxing fans. Now, I'm not saying that every boxing fan who's a Anthony Joshua fan is delusional. I'm not saying that. I am an Anthony Joshua fan. I am an Anthony Joshua fan. Right? I like watching him fight. I think he's a talent. But the thing is, I'm a hardcore boxing fan. I'm not a boxer fan. So because I'm a hardcore boxing fan and I actually am into boxing as a whole, not just for one fighter, I'm able to see the weaknesses of these fighters. I'm able to see the fact that these fighters make mistakes. I'm able to see the fact that these fighters have a lot of flaws in them. When it comes to these fanboys, they don't seem to be able to, they can't seem to notice the flaws, or at least they ignore it. It's almost like they turn a blind eye to the flaws. When it comes to Anthony Joshua, a lot of his fans act like he's immortal. A lot of his fans act like nobody could beat him. He's invincible. He's untouchable. And when you talk about the fact that, he gasses out, he has bad endurance, he is one of those fighters that is muscle bound and it makes him stiff and it slows him down. He's acceptable to counters. He's acceptable to counters. He gets counters. He's not necessarily, I don't think he necessarily fights the best when he's being backed up. I think he's very vulnerable when he's being backed up. I don't think he fights good being backed up when Anthony Joshua is. I think when he comes forward, that's when he's at his best. But I think when he's being backed up, I don't think he fights. I don't think he's that good. They can't see that. So when they see a person talking about his flaws, they get angry. They get angry and they insult you, or they tell you don't know shit about boxing, because they're fanboys. In their mind, they can't comprehend the fact that, this fighter has flaws. So when it comes to a lot of these fanboys, these Anthony Joshua fanboys, they just believe that Anthony Joshua is going to destroy guys like Joseph Parker, and Anthony Joshua is going to just destroy guys like Deontay Wilder. They think that Deontay Wilder wouldn't last 2 rounds. A lot of these fanboys think that Deontay Wilder wouldn't last 2 rounds against Anthony Joshua. A lot of these fanboys think that Joseph Parker is easy work for Anthony Joshua. He's easy work. He's easy money. But I beg to differ. I don't think, basically they think he's a pushover. I don't think Joseph Parker is a pushover. I think Joseph Parker is going to give Anthony Joshua a tougher fight than people think he is. I think Joseph Parker is going to be in here with Anthony Joshua in a very competitive fight. Again, I'm not picking Joseph Parker to win. I'm not picking him to win. I'm picking Anthony Joshua to win. I think Anthony Joshua will win this fight. But I don't think he's just going to, get in the ring and just walk right through this guy. I don't think he's going to just walk right through Joseph Parker. I think Joseph Parker is going to make it a little bit difficult for him because he's going to be on the move. I think Joseph Parker is going to be on the move a bit. And he's going to be in there with a guy who's on the move and who's going to be trying to counterpunch him. Like I said, Anthony Joshua is acceptable to getting hit with counters. I saw Dillian Whyte hit him with counters, and I believe the way to hurt Anthony Joshua is to fight him, is to exchange with him while he's exchanging with you. When he's letting his hands go, you let your hands go with him. That's when he's leaves himself open and getting hurt or dropped. Because when he like I said, he was exchanging with Dillian Whyte when Dillian Whyte threw that hook. Dillian Whyte was exchanging with him, and he hurt him. When he was exchanging with Vladimir Klitschko, and Vladimir Klitschko threw that right hand that hurt him. You see what I'm saying? And even the guys that don't necessarily hurt Anthony Joshua. Guys like Carlos Takam, Carlos Takam was landing on Anthony Joshua. When he was landing on him, it was when he was exchanging with him. You get what I'm saying? I believe that Joseph Parker, if he plays his cards right, I believe he can make this very entertaining. A very competitive fight. First of all, I think Joseph Parker is not fighting Anthony Joshua in like the way Carlos Molina or the majority of, because a lot of times when Anthony Joshua fights guys, especially early in his career, they were pushovers. They weren't going in there with no ambition. Joseph Parker's going in here with ambition. He's a champion. He's an undefeated champion. He doesn't know what it is to lose, and he's young. So he's going to be going in here having a lot of confidence in himself. He saw AJ hurt several times. He saw AJ not look particularly that great against guys like Takam. So he knows that AJ is not immortal. He says it himself. AJ is not immortal. He's not invincible. Joseph Parker realizes that AJ is not this invincible guy that his fans think he is, that his fanboys think he is. He's not this immortal guy. He sees that he has flaws. He sees that he gasses out. He sees that he's hittable. He sees that AJ is no defensive wizard. AJ is no defensive wizard. He gets hit. He gets caught. I think Joseph Parker should really invest on AJ's body. I think any heavyweight who fights AJ should invest on his body. Because AJ, like I said, he gets hurt. He gasses out. So imagine if you go into his body, especially from round 1. Imagine you stay going to his body from round 1. You see what I'm saying? You'll really, and imagine, because he's a guy, AJ, who starts gassing out after 6 rounds. So imagine you start going to his body from round 1. By round 4 or 5, he'll start feeling those effects. It'll really take a lot out of him, especially if Joseph Parker is able to last several rounds. And I definitely think that Joseph Parker is going to be able to land several rounds because Joseph Parker has a tremendous chin. Again, we don't know what's going to happen when he gets hit with AJ's bombs, but I don't think that Joseph Parker is going to get run over by AJ. Matter of fact, I actually think this might go the distance. This fight might go the distance. I wouldn't be shocked if this fight goes the distance. just because Joseph Parker has a really good chin, and he's a talent himself. He knows how to evade punches. He knows how to move. And I think that's going to buy him a lot of time. That's going to help him defensively moving. So yeah, I think Joseph Parker's a live underdog. I think he's a live underdog. I think he's going to cause AJ more problems than people think he's going to cause him. And I think you shouldn't listen to these some of these delusional boxing channels and some of these delusional boxing fanboys that aren't really boxing fans. They're just, like I said, boxer fans. So they'll just tell you shit like, AJ is going to destroy Deontay Wilder. AJ is going to destroy Joseph Parker. These guys have no chance. Again, these guys, they're blinded because they're just boxer fans. So they're like obsessed with these boxers. They think it's kind of like when Floyd Mayweather Jr. was fighting. When Floyd Mayweather Jr. was fighting, he had a lot of fanboys. A lot of people were, used to act like Floyd Mayweather was invincible. Nobody could beat him. Nobody could beat Mayweather. Nobody. But that's preposterous. Every fighter has flaws. Every fighter has flaws. No fighter is unbeatable. But there was a lot of people, Floyd Mayweather Jr. fans, who would act like, Mayweather, ain't nobody could fuck with Mayweather. Nobody. To this day, people say Mayweather's TBE. Mayweather's untouchable. Yes, Mayweather was a great fighter. And he is one of the, an all-time great, in my opinion. But he wasn't untouchable. Mayweather, even in his prime, used to get rocked. Mayweather got hit plenty of times flush in the chin. But people used to act like he was, a defensive wizard. He was a very good defensive fighter, but he used to get hit. Even in his prime, and especially later on in his career, he was getting hit a lot. So I never thought he was unbeatable. But that's how a lot of fans, I'm pretty sure that's how Mike Tyson fans used to act. They used to think he was unbeatable. But guys, if the thing with boxing is no fighter's unbeatable. No fighter's unbeatable. No cash cow's unbeatable. There was a time where people thought Manny Pacquiao was unbeatable, even though Manny Pacquiao had like 3 losses. And back in like 2009, people were saying Manny Pacquiao, was unbeatable. When I was a teenager back then, I remember that shit. And look what happened. He ended up getting knocked out against Marquez. He ended up getting knocked out cold. But people, and he had 4 losses on his record. But people, there was like such a big aura around him at that particular time that people were acting like, he's unbeatable, and then he ends up getting knocked out. Mike Tyson lost to Buster Douglas, people. Buster Douglas is a journeyman, a gatekeeper. Buster Douglas will never be an all-time great. He's a journeyman, man. He ain't shit. Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson. Buster Douglas will get destroyed by Joseph Parker. Oliver McCall beat Lennox Lewis. Oliver McCall will get destroyed by Joseph Parker. So these guys are able to beat these guys, and they're not as good as these guys. So that's why I tell people, like, don't listen to these delusional boxing fans. Again, I'm not saying every boxing fan is delusional. I'm just saying trust me, there's several boxing fans who are just fanboys of boxers, and they're delusional. So they perceive AJ as some type of invincible guy, but he's not. Anyway, guys, that's all I have to say. As always, if you watch the video from start to finish, much appreciated. It's just a video I wanted to make. And as always, guys, subscribe for daily boxing videos. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Much appreciated. Bye-bye.